One of the important things that I want to make sure in here is that we have this rated from, like poor, poor, bad, normal, good. And how we rated it was like, how we did this rating was like incredibly challenging. Like, what are the right words? It's like, do we give it a score? Do we, because, I believe that if you're background screening at all, right, you start with, hey, good, right? Any background screening is better than no background screening. And so after that, it becomes the nuanced layers of, how is this relative to the top, right? Like, what's the best we could do? So if I'm going to rate something against the top, then let's say it's all good, but it's, now we're going to say, well, this is poor compared to the top of what you could be doing. It's an indicator of the amount of gaps between doing something, really, really effective and, dialing it back and not doing something not as effective. So that's something I want to make sure that, people understand. So the assessment, I want to talk about the screening assessment tool because it's super important, and really talk about why we created it and what was up. And it literally comes from, at Bchex, we've done 40 million background screens. We've been around for 20, 30 years or more. And what you learn and what you see on a regular basis, talking to potential clients, talking to clients, answering questions. And here's the one thing I've learned is, in general, clients do not have a great understanding how background checks are made. And if you don't know how they're made, how they're built, how they're run, how the data works, you literally become just so susceptible to being sold something that wouldn't or shouldn't meet your needs. More importantly, you probably think that what you're doing does more than it's supposed to. And so it leads to this kind of mentality of background checks are the same. They're all the same. And you see this a lot in the news. You see, and you'll see, oh, and they ran a background check. You're like, and? What kind? What did they run? What did they do? So let's say somebody was telling me the other day about, they called somebody and they're reaching out to them about, doing background checks for them. And the person said, yeah, our background check is $7. If you can't beat $7, there's no sense in us talking. And because the person said that, there is 1,000 reasons why we should be talking. Because the very statement that was made indicates a complete lack of understanding of background checks. It means that for her, they're all the same and ours costs 7. If yours costs 12, mine's better, right? That's just the kind of mentality it was. And so the industry is prolific with this lack of understanding of how they're done, which means screening companies can take advantage of someone. They can sell them high margin, low quality products that are easy to do, take no human labor and go really fast, right? And that's been done a lot. They can oversell what things are done. I mean, there's a lot of overselling done in our industry. And the reason is because people give pushback to pricing. Like, oh, well, I can get it. Because they don't understand, they always got I can get it cheaper, right? And so you got a salesperson who's willing to just keep dialing it back to try to get into some range that this person's mentally got themselves into. And so after years of understanding, there's just this lack of understanding, right? I said we should lead the industry. We should care. Whether they use us or not, do not care. But better screening will come from better information, better learning. When buyers become experts, whether they're buying from us or anybody else, the outcome is going to be better if they're better educated, if they understand. So you need kind of like the inside baseball to how background screens are made, right? So background screens it's manufacturing, and there's raw components, and as a buyer, you get to choose what raw components you use to determine the quality and the result of how good the background screening is. And if you don't know any better, you could be running a background screen that's very little, covers very little, has gaps in it all over the place, and eventually will catch up to you. Or you could be an expert and know, hey, this is the very top we can do. And you may decide there's places within your screening program where you need the very tip top, and there are others where you can dial it back a little bit. So what Screening Hero was, and it was the idea that let's let people become experts. And so I put together the Screening Hero to answer that kind of gap that I found in the world of background screening, of the buyers not understanding exactly how it's done, so they can't be experts when buying and experts when building programs, screening programs. So it's probably the most comprehensive screening training tool there is. There's a lot of cursory information that I see on websites and different things that tell you, oh yeah, here's the definition of a county search, and here's that, and here's this. But they don't really get into what happens if you don't choose something, or how do you stack these up? How do they utilize? What's the language being used in the industry mean? And so that you can get there. So we go through, I think, 14 plus modules in there, 2 or 3 hours of training to help you get through the process and get to that place. Then what I love about it is after each chapter, there's a quiz that just kind of makes sure you're paying attention, you're learning along the way. When you go through the whole thing, you get essentially certified, Screening Hero certified. You now have, this expert knowledge. So you've taken the test all the way through. You've done that, and that's great. And so people are gonna spend a couple of hours watching this stuff. And I do this all the time when I'm speaking to groups. I pare it down into like a much smaller discussion. But people come up to me afterwards and are like, I had no idea what was going on in my background screening. I had no idea these things happened. My screening company told me this, or my salesperson said that, and I now know better. And so, that's cool, and that's what it's for. And so what we did was just expand that to give them, a deeper insight. And then we went to SHRM and sent it to SHRM and said, hey, can we get this accredited? This is good information. And so I think you get 3 or 4. I think it's 4 SHRM continuing education credits for it. So folks who are looking for that can line that up and get some of their credit hours, continuous learning credit hours from the program. Another one of the things I like about the whole program is when you come through the whole thing, you can get certified, you get the certificate, but 2, it gives you 3 tools, right, within your program. It gives you that screening assessment tool that I think we've previously discussed before. It gives you that screening assessment tool, and you now can use it on a regular basis to test your screens. It also gives you another tool that's a compliance tool that is essentially a compliance audit. And you can run these compliance audits, every 4 or 5 or 6 months. You just go through it, answer the questions on whether you're doing or not doing certain things. And in the end, it'll grade you and essentially pass you. And maybe give you a few items, a punch list of things you need to work on. And so that is a really beneficial, impactful tool that someone can use just to maintain, compliance over their screening program and just make sure there's no compliance drift. And lastly, we have another tool that's really amazing, and it's a data analysis tool. And all we do is, if you take just the names, just names, if you take just the names of the people you screened, and you enter them into this tool, it will analyze those names and how they were entered, because you're going to be giving us the names as how they were entered and ran in your background screening, and we're going to analyze it for potential misspellings and ways that potential fraud and ways in which those names are run that would trip up a background screen, and that is often mind blowing. It regularly says 5 to 6% of the names you're running would cause a problem in missed records, right? Or, and I've seen it as high as 21%. But 21% of the names entered into a system would not produce a quality background check. And so we do this to help people understand that the impact of the stream of data coming from wherever it comes from into the background screen is super important and oftentimes overlooked. So we give them a tool to analyze that to see if that's something that they need to look at and something they need to fix.
Can you maybe show or walk us through the difference between what a good score and a bad score would be on the screening tool?
Yeah, this is a report, all right? It came out. Now this gets emailed to you after you do it. So you answer the questions, completes information about who you are and where to send it, and then it sends it to you. And this particular, this particular one's great, right? It says A+, 0 gaps, and you've essentially, in all the things we've identified you potentially should be doing, at the very top of the list of what you could do, this particular person's done that. So here's an A+. All right, so here's someone who's going to find out they're going to get an F, right? It's going to be poor. And again, I want to go back to these grades are in comparison to this, right? You could do better. The fact that you're background screening at all is a win, all right? So that was the hard thing about doing this. But let me just, I can just look at a couple things in here. Without alias, it's critical gaps is where it points out critical gaps on here. So it gives you a list of critical gaps and says, without alias identification, name-based searches are incomplete and potentially inaccurate. So apparently this person would have checked that they did not do alias searches. Amazing, but a lot of people do not. They're often told that they run a name search, right? From the salesperson tells them, oh yeah, you're running an address history trace, and the person thinks that means that all the names that showed up they're checking for, and it just doesn't, right? It just means that they found these names. So you wouldn't believe the number of mistakes people make. There's no federal screening, which limits the visibility into drug fraud and trafficking convictions. So it's pointing out you've got potential drug, fraud, trafficking, sex trafficking, cross-state sex offenses potentially would not be listed in the way this particular person's screening. Without some type of ID screening, inputs like names and DOBs may be inconsistent or incorrect across systems. It's pointing out, based on how they answer the questions, that these are on it. And then lastly, on this particular report, it does tailored recommendations, and it lists, in this particular case, 4 things that they could do to improve their screening right there on the report. Now, it takes like 3 minutes to answer the questions. And then you get this. Now, you can either find out you're awesome, right? There's no bad outcome to doing the assessment, because you either find out you're doing a really great job, or you find out that there's some gaps in your system that you could close and you could potentially improve. So you take 3 minutes, you take the assessment, no bad outcomes. Either way, you get good information, and you get to choose on what you do. That was the purpose. Better screening. We don't care if you use us or not. You could take this to your existing screening partner and say, hey, we want to address these things. Or you could call us and say, hey, I wish our screening partner had told us this. We'd like to talk to you guys about doing it. Talk to one of our coaches, and they'll get you through and talk to you about how to address some of these things.
That's the good thing about it, is you don't have to be a client of Bchex. You don't have to get background checks through Bchex. Literally anybody can do it. Anybody can take the tool. It's for your own knowledge. It's for your own,
Yeah, I love that. You're right on. It's, between that and our other educational programs and this, it's just about giving people the tools, and I don't mean like easy throwaway tools. I mean real tools that make a difference in their education, giving those for free, getting people educated, because we believe in better screening. We believe in better screening as a value to our business. It's not just our screening. We believe that people should be screening better, and there should be better screening. Now, we want to deliver a great screening experience, but we want everybody to screen better. We want everybody to learn, and we're doing our job. If people are learning and engaging, their background screening company and making changes to their program just from what they learned from us.